Hi, sweet ones, and thank you for joining me for today's episode of Embodied Divinity. Let's all take a big, deep, collective breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just tap into the joy that's present here. Tap into the joy that you are. Tap into the here and now, the one moment in time that truly exists. Oh, it's been such a beautiful time of really this collective heart opening, this movement of energy through our heart spaces that's allowing us to stretch and expand, to receive, to open, to give more and more. A lot of people feel like they're reaching their capacity, reaching their limits, but the universe always has a plan for us. I truly believe that. And as we surrender to what is here, what is now, choosing not to argue with life and just allowing it to happen for and through us, oh, life just becomes so beautiful. Today, I want to talk about your ability to create, to be here in this moment, and really the knowing that everything in life has the meaning that you give it. Let's say that again. Everything in life has the meaning that you give it. We truly are the center of our own universe. And while we are all connected and one, and really the end destination is return to that state of oneness, we are all also here having an individual experience. And our perceptions and projections onto the world are what create our unique reality. The way that we see and perceive others, the way that we see and perceive ourselves, the stories we tell about how others perceive us all shape our reality. Each and every person has their own unique definition of love, of hate, of pain, their own levels of tolerance for pleasure, their capacity to see beauty, to experience luck or joy or blessings. It's unique for each and every person. If I were to stand on my front porch alongside 5 other people, each and every one of us would have a different experience based on our perception and the meaning we are giving to what we see. I think it's such a powerful realization, because when you see the world through the lens of the meaning you give it, you have unlimited choice, unlimited possibility, the unlimited ability to create a reality that you desire. You can wake up and view the world through whatever lens you want. And a lot of people create a lot of suffering for themselves because they continuously try to see the world through a lens of the past or previously learned experiences and perceptions. But the truth is, anything that's not right here in this moment is no longer real. The only truth that exists is the truth of the here and now. We live from these habits and patterns and ideas about ourselves, and we repeat these patterns and ideas time and time again through relationships, even through the foods we eat. My son is learning to try new foods after a long talk that we had, because he would always say, "I don't like that." And I say, "Well, how do you know?" And he said, "Because I tried it when I was 4 years old and I remember." And I said, "But what if the version of you that's with me today loves it?" He was basing all of his ideas about the food he liked on the past, which was no longer part of his current reality. And so I started asking, what do you like today? How do you want to feel today? What do you want to experience today? And we would forget about anything that happened yesterday or the day before. Any stories he told about certain flavors of ice cream, or the way certain foods made him feel, or the way his body responded to certain smells of foods. And he would live from the moment. And now he's starting to branch out and try new things based on the here and now. Food is just one small thing that we get stuck on. We stay in the experience of the past, or even an idea of somebody else. I remember I hated Brussels sprouts until I was like 20 years old. And you guys, I had never even eaten them. But I used to watch this show called I think it was called Franklin. It was about Franklin the turtle. Maybe you've seen it. And Franklin hated Brussels sprouts. And mind you, this was when I was like 6 years old. And because Franklin hated Brussels sprouts, I hated Brussels sprouts. And I created this story about this food that I'd never even tried. And we do this so often with so many things in life. We tell stories about men and women. We tell stories about non-binary beings. We tell stories about religion and God. We tell stories about pain and beauty. We tell all of these stories over and over again, and we end up trapping ourselves in cycles based on the past or a projected future, and none of those things exist. When you can tap into the moment here now and give life the meaning you want, you have the ultimate power. What do you want to experience right now? What is your beingness right now? And let's talk a little bit about beingness. Beingness is what comes first, before any thought, before any action, before any manifestation or realization. Beingness comes first. You can't do happiness. You can't do hunger. You can't do sadness. They are states of being that you sink into, and then you take action based on that. So let's do something really simple. Hunger or thirst, for example. You notice the sensation of hunger or thirst in your body. You're in a state of being of hunger or thirst. You're not sitting there thinking about it most of the time anyways, I'm sure. You just simply say, I want food. You were in a state of being, hunger or thirst, so you went after food or coffee or water or whatever it was, and then you get into the action of doing. You are now eating the food and satisfying the hunger. In any moment, you get to choose the state of being you are in, and you can do this by changing the frequency and vibration of your body, by the way that you're responding to the circumstances present and the meaning that you give it, and coming back to a centered, grounded state. For example, if in this moment you desire to experience calm and peace, you can start with an affirmation if you like, because you're making a decision, and sometimes it's easier for our egos if we say these things out loud. So you can say, I am calm, I am peace, and you sink in to your perception of calm and peace, and you breathe that into your body. When you're learning this, for example, I have a client right now who's learning to embody wealth and attract more wealth. And so all day, every day, this client is saying, I am wealth, and she's allowing herself to be in that state of wealth and move forward, taking action aligned with her beingness of the state of wealth. So if you are trying to embody, I am calm, I am peace, we can repeat this all day, and we repeat the affirmation, I am, so that you can remind yourself to drop into that state of being, and then one day it comes naturally. And the way you respond to circumstances is from a state of calm and peace. You can do this with love, with health, with connection, with anything. It's dropping into the state of being, I am worthy. And we use that affirmation, I am, because it is what we are. And it's so important to be mindful of the words, sensations, and feelings you put after I am. Because you are creating that and you are speaking that into your mind and your subconscious to create and send more of that to you. That's why I often, when I'm describing different sensations and feelings I have, I say, I experience blank, or this morning I awoke with a sensation of blank. But I'm not saying I am blank unless it's something I'm really cultivating or intending to experience. And so allowing yourself to be in a state of being that's more in alignment with your heart's desires, your bigger picture intentions and goals, creates more opportunity for you to align with that state of being through action. It's all the way you perceive it. You can wake up in the morning and you can be experiencing feelings of anxiety, and you can choose to change that to sensations and experiences of peace and calm by noticing it, by being with it, and by tuning into what you truly want to feel, and realizing that your perception of anxiety, or why you might be responding with sensations of anxiety, are based on a story that you're telling yourself or an energy in your field. And in every moment, you have the opportunity to choose differently. We get to wake up every morning with this fresh start, and we get to choose every morning the state of being that we are in. And of course, it comes through practice. I myself practice mindfulness meditation, really tuning into a lot of those ancient teachings that allow us to see the world through a lens of what is, instead of creating stories, which looks like knowing that what's happening here and now is the truth that exists, and we don't need to create stories about any of it or make assumptions about any of it. We get to be surrendered to life happening for and through us. So for example, I'll just tell a personal story. I wake up and I'm feeling embodied and in gratitude and full and whole. And I set an intention to really be in the state of being of calm and peace and joy that day. And a few moments later, maybe I hear the dogs fighting and my son's screaming and my daughter walks in with a problem. And these are things that happen, right? And so these experiences play out in front of me. And I've made the choice to see the world through a lens of neutrality. I am not uprooted by whatever emotions my son is experiencing. When my daughter comes in to tell me the story, I am staying in my beingness of calm and peace. When I hear the dogs fighting, I am staying in my beingness of calm and peace, and I am responding to life happening in front of me from that state of being. I'm not telling a story about my son's emotions. I'm not telling a story about my daughter's experience or the dogs barking. I'm not making it about me or life, because the circumstances happening around me, I can simply observe and let them be as they are. I'm probably going to butcher this, but there's like this story that's told in a lot of mindfulness books. I don't have the references or anything right now. If I feel inclined to do so, I will put them in the notes of this episode. But There, and just remember, I'm saying I'm going to butcher this, but you'll get the idea from the story. But there's like this ancient tale about this man who lived on a farm. And one day his son was out riding a horse, and they got a lot of their wealth or whatever from the son riding this horse, and he fell off and he broke his foot, and all the neighbors rushed over, and he's like, oh my goodness, your son broke his foot on this horse. How will blah, blah, blah. And he said something like, maybe so. Kind of like akin to, it is what it is, right? And he goes on about his day. And the very next day, the army comes to draft people. And because his son had broken his foot the day before, he doesn't get drafted, and everybody in the town is freaking out, and, oh, you're so lucky your son didn't have to get drafted, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, maybe so. It is what it is. And life unfolds for him this way, and he's giving no attachment, no goodness or negativity to any situation that occurs. He just takes life as it is, trusting that whatever is happening here and now is perfect, not attaching anything negative to it. He didn't take it personally when his son fell off the horse and could no longer supply that money. He didn't say, oh, God is punishing me, or why is this happening? And he also didn't say, well, maybe this is happening for a reason. He just said, it is what it is. Life is happening here now for me through this experience. And the same thing when something seemingly positive happened. He didn't celebrate or give it all of this power or intentionality. He didn't create a story. He just said, it is what it is, with this state of calmness and neutrality. And a lot of people are like, oh, but isn't that boring? And it's not, because it allows you to see life through a lens of love. You get to see the unconditionality of the universe. You get to step into remembrance that you are source consciousness, that you are not this life or this body or these circumstances that are happening around you and for you and through you. You are source consciousness in this human experience, and life is happening for you. You're not being punished and you're not being praised. It's simply what is happening here and now. And what is happening here and now is often the result of your state of beingness and the way you perceive the world. The more you perceive the world through a lens of gratitude and love, and dare I say, optimism and joy, the more you see those types of experiences happening before you, the more you focus on the negative, the darkness, the hard, the pain, the more you're going to see those things happening in front of you, because your subconscious mind looks for evidence of the thoughts that you think and the perceptions you have and the state of being that you reside in most frequently. If you declare a state of being of wealth or peace or calm or love, and you align your thoughts and words with those things, you are going to be inclined to take aligned action that create more of those things, but you're also going to notice more things aligned with that state of being and those words and those intentions. A lot of you who have been on maybe the manifestation train for a while, I'm sure you've read about experiments in books where you can pick out an object that you see, like a red car or a yellow butterfly, and you name that object and you say that you want to see it every day. And then lo and behold, all day long, you're seeing a yellow slug bug or a purple butterfly or whatever it is you named. And it's because you declared that you would. You set the intention and you started to take aligned action to look for that evidence, and it showed up for you. Life really gets so simple. And I know that a lot of times when people hear these things, their ego wants to justify all of these stories. And that's when we step back and we observe the stories that our ego is telling that pull us away from the state of being that most aligns with us. And we sink into a new truth, and we come back to the here and now, not a perception based on the past or a projection of the future, but what is happening here now? And can I be in gratitude of that? And can I choose a state of being that aligns with my heart in this moment here and now? And can I move from there? It's so beautiful. It's so grace filled, so magic. And honestly, it allows you to be empowered through this existence, to be able to choose your state of beingness and speak that state of beingness into reality. It's kind of like that saying, if you can be anything in this whole world, be kind, right? If in every moment you truly get to choose how you want to be, why wouldn't you choose amazing, miraculous, exciting ways of being? I just think it's a really fun and cool way to live. And as you resonate with this, as things pop up for you, leave a comment below, reach out to me and let me know what shifted or what came up in your body. And if you're looking for guidance to deepen into this, I highly recommend joining me for my Embodied Divinity Mentorship Program. All of my services are now based on donation or a sliding scale, making way for each and every being who feels in alignment with this work to access it. As we step into the new Earth's way of equality and unity and community, I am here standing as a model and empowered witness for this new way of being. And it's always my honor to guide any of you who wish to hold hands as we move through this journey together. I'm right here with you, and it's always super fun to dive into this work. Thank you guys so much. I will be here Friday with a guided meditation, sinking deeper and deeper into the present moment, into mindfulness, into truth and authenticity. So stay tuned for that. And as always, breathe deep and plan on miracles.